Group H. H for what the hell did we just experience? And for those of you family people at home, yes, I said the H word, because this group, these games, it was just pure madness. Lucho, coming to you first. That Ghana Uruguay game, so much emotion, so much intensity, and it just defied all odds. What did you see in that one?
No, it was fantastic to see both teams just going for it. Only one thing missing. I think Uruguay just went too short. In the moment that they were up front and they thought this is all done, we've been talking in this podcast about not playing. Don't speculate with the results of the other games. Just go for what you need. And after, if you get shot, at least you have gave 100%. And today we've seen another proof that you have to give everything until the last minute. Uruguay was all done. I think they thought, okay, we just scored 2 goals. We are all good. So we are going to go through. Even though that they knew that with 1 goal in the other game, they could change the fate of their future. So at the end, you need to go for it. Uruguay did the job, but not enough. Ghana, I was surprised that in the last 15 minutes, they were just all done. They couldn't more. I've seen Kudu. They was impressive once I went. This kid is going to be magnificent. He couldn't even move. He couldn't even walk. In one of the counterattacks in the minute 19th, he had to ask for the change because he couldn't move after an amazing job during the whole 90 minutes. So at the end, I was expecting a little bit more from Darwin Núñez. I was expecting a little bit more from Luis Suarez, even though that he was involved in the 2 goals. But this Uruguayan team had enough to get that result and go through, had enough to score another goal. I was expecting a lot more from Ghana. That today really disappointed me a little bit because the intensity was there, the rhythm was there, but the end product wasn't there. So good result for Korea because Uruguay needed 1 more and they didn't get it.
Eric, looking at this game, this is a group that Portugal's in, and we'll touch on Portugal later. But for Uruguay, this has to be an absolute disaster. First time for them, I think, in the last 5 World Cups, not since 2002, that they failed to qualify from the group stages. How does this happen if you're a team like Uruguay?
Well, let me just start by saying something that's going to sound counterintuitive. I thought that Uruguay was going to be the dark horse in this competition, and I had a feeling that they could upset Brazil if they finished second in this group, because I think in terms of matchups, they have the sort of qualities that could make life very difficult for the Brazilians. But having said that, I think that you have to lay the blame at the feet of Diego Alonso, the coach. We know that Uruguay traditionally has always been a 4-4-2 defensively minded team. But this is a bit of a golden generation with a lot of attacking talent. And I think the mistakes were made in the first 2 games where he went a little bit too defensive against Portugal in a 4-3-3 with 3 center midfielders who are not creative. These guys are workers. Yes, you have somebody like Valverde who can stretch the game. He can shoot from distance. He's got a very good passing, but he's not a guy who's going to take advantage of tight spaces. So I think that Uruguay's downfall was that they were too conservative. They kept Georgian de Arrascaeta on the bench until this game, and look at the difference that he made. Palestri wasn't very good in the first game, but had an impact off the bench against Portugal, so you understand the fact that he started. So at the end, they just had to do, and I think this is the point that Lucho made, they had to do too much in this game in order to overcome the mistakes of the previous 2 games. Although I will say this, my asterisk of this game is that I think Cavani should have gotten a penalty. He was tripped inadvertently when he ran into the box on the left side. I think a lot of people were focusing on his upper body, but if you look at the bottom, the Ghanaian defender, I forget exactly who it was, tripped him inadvertently. I know it was checked, but for me, it was a penalty. So I think they will feel a little bit hard done, but at the end of the day, look nowhere else other than Diego Alonso.
Nige?
Jesus Christ, Mike. Eric's just taking all my talking points. I can't even say anything now. I was going to bring up everything about that. I was just going to ask Eric and Lucho a few questions. How much of a massive underachievement is this for Uruguay? Because I had them as well as a big dark horse. And personally, for me, I think Valverde, for me, has the right to be put in the category as one of the best midfielders in world football right now. And another player who I liked, as what Eric mentioned, is Arrascaeta. I've had the pleasure of watching him play for Flamengo. And he is an absolute sensation. With the talent that they have, how much of a failure is this for Uruguay? And do you also think that Darwin Núñez is still struggling from his move from Benfica to Liverpool, and that might not have been the right move for him?
I'll tee that up for you first, Lucho.
No, yeah, definitely. Darwin is still trying to find the confidence that he needs to develop, even though that the manager have proven that he's got everything that he's going to show. But when on the games, I still missing the player from Benfica, where he was the main man, when every single ball was on him, and now he needs to find that rhythm. He couldn't find it just in the past, maybe month and a half. At Liverpool, you could see some movement, some finishing from his Benfica side, but not yet we've seen the player that I think he can become, because he's got everything. He's got the pace, he's got the ability, he's got the strength. He's a big lad, so he can go very good in the air, and he can be a very good finisher. But definitely when you are in front of the goal, you need that confidence to try to put it in. And we've seen that with, for example, Luis Suarez for many years. In the moment that he's on fire in front of the goal, you know he's going to score 30 goals during the season. That's what we need from this Darwin Nunez kid. Definitely, I was expecting a little bit more from the team, but you guys have been talking about creativity. This is a team that he doesn't have any player who can change the world. And we've seen Valverde trying to his luck from half of the pitch. Fantastic shot, because he's got an amazing strike. But you don't have a player who can dribble two players and score a goal. You don't have it. You don't have a player who can make a dribbling like Tadic we've seen today. Two players, and then I put, without looking, a ball in between the lines to make the goal. Or we've seen also Son in the other game trying to make the run, arrive, have the composure to stop and put the ball in between the legs of a player and set it up. So that's what is missing in this team. A lot of battle, a lot of legs, a lot of height, a lot of run, but at the end, you don't have that creativity up front. And you need one or two to try to go far in this competition. They don't have any.
Yeah, I think this World Cup disaster and failure was down to the hands of not just the players, but Diego Alonso. And rumor has it Alonso stepping down as manager. We'll have that confirmed to you whenever we get proper confirmation. But when you have Diego Godin, three players, they're the old heads for this Uruguay team: Diego Godin, Luis Suarez, Edison Cavani. They've been part of the mainstay of this team for the last couple World Cups. But when you have Diego Godin, who is not the same Godin as he was with Atletico Madrid, Lucho, you've seen him thrive in La Liga for the last decade, but he is not that guy anymore. Why not give this team, why not give ownership to the likes of Jimenez, who's at the Atleti, who I think is a proper defender, the likes of Coates, who's having a good season in the Champions League that we get to watch on Paramount Plus week in and week out, match day in, match day out with Sporting Lisbon. He's also a captain. These are players who are ready to thrive. I don't think Uruguay, the future is not as bleak as this tournament might suspect. You still have Darwin Nunez, who is going to get better with more matches and experiences. You still have one of the best midfielders in Fede Valverde, and Bentancur. I think he was a big miss. From the Ghanaian side, to sum it up, PKs and shining moments, you have to take him. The ghost and the nightmare of 2010, Andre Ayew, he will not be allowed in Accra for the next 2 years. I promise you, I'm from Africa. I know how this works. Stay in London, bruv. Stay in London, because you just let your country down massively.